Are we live? Yeah. Was that how I was doing it? No intro or anything? All right, fair play. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Don't know what's going on behind the absolute carnage that is the production. We're sort of... we're letting Mitch have a go. Might be the last chance he has a go. Thank you for joining us. This is Tactical Preview, Manchester United against Brighton. There can't be any excuses this week. We have to make this one happen. We have to pull 3 points out. We are in danger of really slipping away. I mean, like... I don't want to really break it to you like this, but the... look at this here. It's just come through on my part now here. We're live. Joke. Right. I don't want to break it to you too harshly, but I don't think we're going to win the league, lads. Actually, if we're being serious, top four is on the unlikely side of things. Some of you are probably even stronger than that and say that's just plain and simply not happening. But even top six... which is where we have to finish, I think. Although, coming sixth and ninth, there's not a lot of difference between it. We have to finish in the top six. We have to turn it around. We have to see that Solskjaer's able to put some runs together and able to get a tune out of this team. That's what we need to do. So Solskjaer has been talking in his press conference today, and he says McTominay is still a doubt. The way he was talking, it makes me think that McTominay is probably going to come through that one. But again, this is the sort of thing where you go, look how thin the squad is. Scott McTominay probably shouldn't really be considered a starting player at any top six ambition club. When you look at the likes of Chelsea, what's going on in their midfield, City's midfield, arguably even Liverpool's midfield. Liverpool managed to replace their entire midfield three against us with very good players. And we've got Scott McTominay, who's definitely got a knock of some sort and probably should be rested after playing on Thursday and being asked to play again at the weekend. You would like to see him rested. I'd like to see him rested. I'd like to see him rested anyway, regardless of whether or not he's got an injury. So... this shows the weaknesses and the lack of depth in this Manchester United squad. If Scott was in any way, shape or form not right, when you go, all right, okay, throw Matic in. Oh, we can't throw Matic in because he's not available. Oh, okay. Nightmare. This is the scenario that we find ourselves at the minute. So anyway, he said he'll be okay, but I don't know. Hopefully he's fit for Sunday. We want to win the group, but travelling away to Astana is not... one to look forward to with Villa, Spurs and City the week after, so maybe we'll rest a few players for the game. That's good to hear. Hopefully it's a pure under-23 squad. Harry Maguire picked up a knock and he's also a doubt. I think we're all right at centre-half, though does sound like Axel's probably got a couple more weeks. There are options against Brighton. Not sure there is. I'm not going to give the team out now. Ashley is suspended and I felt we needed a strong team tonight. Last night, obviously. And an experienced team, and we wanted the win. So he's absolutely correct in that. Get your comments in as well, please, and make sure to like the video, and I will have a quick gander through them in a second. Key player for Brighton, Aaron Connolly. 2 goals in his debut against Spurs, 85% pass accuracy, 100% pass accuracy inside his own half, 1.5 shots per game, and he's fouled almost twice per game. Someone that you've definitely got to be looking out for. In terms of the United starting 11 that I would like to see us go for, this is really in relation to how we do is going to be in relation to what Brighton put out. Brighton have been putting out a back three and also a back four. I'm almost certain, because of the options that we've got, we're going to be going with this 4-2-3-1, Ollie's current favourite formation of the week. The injuries or potential injuries to centre halves makes me think that we're not going to be mixing it up too much at centre half. I definitely think it's going to be 4-2-3-1, which is just what we're rolling with constantly at the moment. The team I'm going to be going with, the back five pretty much picks itself. I think Marcos Rojo's becoming first choice. Harry Maguire, if he gets through, has to start. Wan-Bissaka and Brandon Williams, who's got an opportunity to cement himself as the best left-back at this football club. Scott McTominay, I think, is going to make it. Fred will probably be picked alongside him. James on the right, Rashford on the left, Tony Marshall after that absolute filth of a goal that he got last night against Partizan. Outrageous, absolutely outrageous. If you're a child and you've seen that, you shouldn't have. It should have been 18 plus. Now, the issue is the player I didn't mention there, Andreas Pereira. I don't want to pick Andreas Pereira there. I'd like to pick Mata there. I don't really want to pick Mata there. I'd like to pick someone younger with a bit of legs there, but I don't think we're going to have the opportunity for that. And I think that highlights where United need strengthening. If Ollie's going to persist with this 4-2-3-1, there has to be someone that can play week in, week out with the rigours of the Premier League in that number 10 spot. So Scholes had mentioned Rashford there. I actually think Mason Greenwood's not a terrible shout to play there. Someone that can play in between the lines, someone who's got half as many assists as he's got goals coming through the academy. He's definitely got an eye for a pass. He's not a selfish centre-forward, but I think he's got too much to go on learning the game in the men's game at the moment anyway. So, yes, there's some doubt over some of these players still, Maguire and McTominay and probably a few others as well in there too, to be honest with you. But this is the 11 that I'm thinking that we'll probably go with. In terms of my key player for United in this one, Brandon Williams is definitely going to be that man. 24 passes completed so far, about 80%. 5 out of 7 duels, 100% of his dribbles, 2 interceptions, 3 clearances, 1 tackle, and drew 2 fouls, obviously including the penalty, which he won in the return leg against Partizan. Brandon definitely has the opportunity to... those stats was against Chelsea, by the way. Those were the... This is the opportunity that Brandon has got now to cement himself in the first team. I honestly think last night couldn't have been any less doubt in anybody's mind that Ashley Young is finished out here. Ashley Young cannot be continued to be picked on ability alone in this because he just doesn't have the up and down ability. He doesn't have the ability on the ball. He can't come close to what Brandon alone can do. There's just no two ways around it. I'm going to pull the comments up over here and see what some of you guys are saying in a second. Brighton, as I sort of alluded to before, I'll go more into that. Brighton have got... they played a back three most of the time this season, but the few occasions that they played a back four, they've actually pulled out wins and they've actually looked their best doing it. They've played a 4-4-2 quite often, and I think it actually suits them really well. I think there are a couple of people in the comments there saying they think that Ollie's going to play a back five to protect Brandon. I don't think you need to protect Brandon. So, and I also don't know if we've got enough centre halves to play everybody. If there's doubt over someone like Maguire, then we definitely don't have enough centre halves to be able to do that. So I think it will be the back four. And I think that's what's going to be going on for United. I'm going to come to the Discord chat in a second. Thanks to everybody that's joined. We absolutely smashed our target to get that. Someone's just put Brandon's taller than 5'7". Yeah, I don't know where we've got that data from. That's absolutely incorrect. He's taller than me. He's probably 6 foot. It might even be 6'1". So we need to change that for the next time we're on. I think that's from Transfer Market. That's where we usually get all our data from, and we've just put it on there. Where'd you get it from? What's Transfer Market? I haven't got a fucking clue of there. I should have checked that before we went. Thank you to everybody that's just joined on the Patreon. There's some fucking absolute widge that thinks it's funny to screenshot everything and leak it, which is the whole thing about joining Patreon, is that you get information and it stays on there like adults. But this guy's a fucking child. So we've had to lock down a couple of things, and some people might have been kicked out of the group because it was suspected it was them. Hopefully we've resolved all that sort of stuff. And we'll be able to reopen it and give everyone the info again over the weekend. Hopefully that's not caused too many dramas. We will be booking in the podcast in Manchester. I've got a couple of dates. I just got to speak to the hotel and firm it up and all that sort of stuff. And then we'll be having that one boxed off. Sanida says, you really are overrating Brandon. I'm not. Look who we've got at our club, Ashley Young and Luke Shaw. Are you telling me he's not better than either of those? Did I come out and say he's the best left back in the country? Not yet. We'll do that after Christmas, right? But he's the best left back at this club. Yeah, he's not 5'7". He's definitely not 5'7". He's a lot taller than me. I'm 5'10", and he's probably, I'd say he's 6 foot or 6'1". He's tall. Right, let's see what the Discord group is saying. Just cut my mic a sec. Right, Sakurabu says, first goal scorer. I honestly don't know. Marshall, if he's in the sort of form that we saw last night. Otherwise, could be any of them, I guess, couldn't it? Sean, any chance Mason can lock down that right side? He seems to play well with Marshall. I think Ollie sort of alluded to it last night, didn't he? That he's going to be drip fed in slowly. But I think he's got to come off for 20 minutes. You can't give him 5 minutes or 2 minutes. That's not going to be good enough for us. Clements, assuming they're defending a low block like their life depends on it. That's not necessarily what we've seen from them. But yeah, okay, we keep reading. Is it time for the same front four, including Mason and Matter? And will Ollie probably go with Pereira and James? Yeah, I think he will go with Pereira and James. Yeah, we already know that, don't we? Call me Dragon. Okay, Dragon. You reckon we should go with the same front three as last night for the weekend? I wouldn't be surprised if it was them lot with Mason as well, to be honest. That would be pretty adventurous, wouldn't it? It's just before the international break. There's no games next week. Have a blowout, lads. Why not? Anyone from Brighton I'd take in the United team? Not off the top of my head, no, which should tell you that if we're unable to do them, it's because they're setting up as a team better than we are, doesn't it? No, I probably wouldn't. Actually, no. That's quite telling, actually, isn't it, that? With Lindelof being shaky enough this season, would I throw Rojo in Sunday? I think Rojo's overtaken him. I think he should have overtaken him. What do you lot think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think Rojo's overtaken Lindelof? I think his performances have been fine this season. Dan James' smile. Was the big increase in creativity midweek due to a poor opponent, or are we finally figuring something out? Can we replicate it against a team sitting deep in the league? I think it was a little bit of a few elements. I think it was a team that is a lot poorer. That's why I don't think anyone was getting super excited about it. But it was also playing Matter in the right kind of role. You got free runners around him, and you allow him to have the ball. And so many times he had little link-up plays. That's really what we needed. Someone that can hold on to the ball in those areas. And then the movement of those guys around him was really good. You can have that movement around Andreas Pereira. He doesn't give a fuck. He's going to dribble it to the edge of the D and he's going to shoot. Do I think Ollie will click on and realise how to play Matter after last night? God, I hope so. He may be slow, but with Marcus, Mason, Tony and James flying, he just needs to ping the balls in. Yeah, you can totally just protect the guy with speed all around him. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Totally. Do you think we'll see the fullbacks super high like they were for the first half of the Partizan game? If so, what can Brandon bring to the game in the final third? What Brandon will bring to the game in the final third is he likes that easy pass that I've been going mad about, that City do all the time, where it's literally just a pass into someone that's in the box. Brandon's got that all day long. He also likes to come in on his right foot and have a dig. Someone's saying Dunk in the comments. Dunk was the one that flashed into my mind, but I think we've still got better. In terms of who I'd take from Brighton. He'll come along the byline. He'll come all the way back round. He'll overlap big time. Even though he's right-footed, he will use his left foot and he'll get a decent crossing with his left foot. And it's work rate, it's energy, it's aggression. And sometimes, as we saw for the penalty in Partizan, committing a defender by making him make a tackle and making him make a decision, that can be more than enough. Why do I think Chong is struggling so much to break through the United ranks into senior footy? I just think it's a pure ability thing. I think he relies quite a lot on physicality. And in the men's game, he doesn't necessarily have that physicality. Will Young be missed? Speaking of banning people. No, I don't think Young will be missed. At all. Should Matter start like against Partizan? Says Young Tizzle 99. I think if he's fit, yeah, because he will have a week off next week. He's not going on international duty, obviously. So if he feels fresh and he thinks he can maybe pull an hour in, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him. And then change him on the hour for someone like Andreas Pereira and let him go and shoot after the game's maybe won. That would be a nice change, wouldn't it? Should we shift to a back three to allow the midfield to attack, says Liam. I can see the reason why you would want to do it, but I think we probably don't have the personnel to do it this weekend with injuries and stuff like that. ZOT says Maguire's making mistakes a lot recently. What do I think? I think all of them are. Do you know what? Go and properly watch Lindelof's 1v1 defending. And there's mistakes against Chelsea. There's mistakes against Norwich. Who did we play the other week? There's a lot of mistakes basically in Lindelof, and there's levels in the game that he can certainly improve upon. Ronan, would I agree that Tony is becoming a bit of a leader? I don't know about that, to be honest. I haven't seen that, so maybe I'll have to go back and have a look. Sean, with Brighton winning 3 of their last 4, could this be a more difficult game than we might think? They were very good against... Let me get my notes. Where's my notes gone? It was Everton, Norwich and Spurs. They won all 3 of those games very convincingly, and that was all with the back 4. They used the back 3 against City and Chelsea, and they got completely overrun. So if he comes out with a back 4, might be a bit tasty. Matt says, should I place a bet on Brandon headhunting the referee? Probably not, but it might be another time to maybe get a booking for Brandon and just see how it goes. Ian, will Garner get a start with doubts over McTominay's fitness? He might be. I think he's being dripped in, and Europa is definitely the way it's going to be. That happens. But yeah, you never know. He might surprise us. I see someone in the YouTube comments mentioning Fosu Mensah won't be ready. I spoke to somebody last night who said Fosu Mensah is probably back in about 6 weeks. Whether that means available for selection in 6 weeks or in the first team in 6 weeks, I think we all probably know what it is. Tat says, with McSauce potentially injured, do I think Garner could step in to play a similar role? How annoying is it seeing fans online complaining that we went too strong against Partizan, can't win with some? Well, I said it myself. Did we need to go as strong as we went last night? Being mindful that ultimately we was getting through this group. It doesn't matter whether you win every game or you lose a couple of games getting through the group, as long as you get through the group and progress in the competition. That's what it's all about. If you win all your games, but then you fail because you went too hard for it in the games that follow them in the league and you mess up your league form, what was the point? Do you know what I mean? So I've got to say, yeah, for me, I'd rather get through the group, of course, but I want to win that league game that comes after it as well. That's important for me. Lauren says, why wasn't Laird on the bench? Don't know. Maybe Laird is on the bench this week because we've got no Ashley Young. We shall see. Samuel says, I shared a lift with you the other week at Old Trafford, was too nervous to say hello. Just say hello, mate. I'm fucking normal. Well, semi-normal. I highly rate Marshall, says Pepper Red. He would get on our bench easy. Oh, is this a Scouser? You haven't recovered from him absolutely fucking years in his debut, so shut your mouth. Really wish Eric Bay's career took off. He looked unbelievable at a time, but not consistently. Just injuries with him, isn't it? Just injuries. That's the absolute nightmare with him. Yep. That is it. Right, I'm about to wrap it up there, but before you go, I'm going to ask you to like the video, and I'm also going to say, come and check out the Patreon group. We hit our target of 750. We are actually at 758. So we smashed it this morning. And that means that live podcast in Manchester with a United legend is going to happen. And if you're a Patreon member, not only do you get to come and watch live in person if you're local, but those who aren't local will get to watch it, and it will not be getting uploaded to YouTube. Today, we've literally just been looking at the venues for Dublin. So big shout out to, hang on, let me get the geezer's name. Dave McCabe for sending us loads of venues and giving us a synopsis on them all. It looks like, did any of you guys notice in the comments, Smock Alley Theatre is where we are looking for the location in Dublin. We are hoping to have a United Irish legend with us. We're probably going to be coming over in about February. So no matter where you are in the world, unless you live in some absolute mental place, then sorry, I can't help you. But like all of the major population places in the world, we are hoping to get all the way around and come and bring a legend to you, do a live podcast. It's all about our top little Patreon community. Couple of widgets, but we'll root them out and we'll have a fucking really good community. So Smock Alley Theatre in Dublin in February. Patreon members are going to get to come free of charge because you've already supported the channel. It's our little treat to you. After that, we're going to be doing Glasgow. And after that, as soon as the tour's announced, whether that's New York or Los Angeles, or maybe both, we'll be coming to America and doing the same thing as well. And that is all because we are supported by our community. And I'm very proud to say that I'm supported by my community. It means way more than just some sponsor anointing you and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to sponsor you guys. the fact that our community and so many of our community have chosen to support us financially means a hell of a lot to us. So thank you to everybody that has supported us so far. Thank you to everyone that's about to support us. And Patreons, the information about how this podcast is going to be happening and going down and how you'll sort tickets out for it will be coming out in the next week or so. So stay patient. We'll sort that one out. And before that, we're looking at first weekend in December. Before that, probably the night before that, we are going to be having our Patreon versus Studio 5-a-side game as well. So there's all sorts of extra content that you get for being in the Patreon group and little treats. Like I said, the link is in the description. If you fancy it, check it out and see what you think. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.